The Bankford Off-Road Championship proves to be one of the most hotly contested championships in South African motorsport, with many of the title battles going down to the wire in the special and production vehicle categories. Nissan dominated the production vehicle championship, and consistency paid off for veterans Greg Harvey and Boy Stone in the special vehicle category. For some, the championship turned into a disaster. The Barberspun 500 was the opening round of the championship, and Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser pair Arpi Reinicke and Robin Houghton survived this dunking in the prologue to win the event after starting at the back of the field. Neil Woolrich and Kenny Scholtheimer nursed the overheating Ford Racing Ranger, which also had gearbox problems, home into second place ahead of Marius Boersma, who was third in Class T. Tosca Farmers Piet Haasbroek and Christo Bosch finished third overall and won Class D in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser ahead of brothers Henry and Maurice Zermatten in the PlayStation Pajero. Veteran Cassie Coetzee and Oki Fourie picked up the Class E win in the Castrol Toyota Condor, with father and son Hugo Nyaap de Bruin second in a Toyota Hilux. Frik Mulder and Willie Joran won the new Class F for two-wheel drive vehicles in ex-Walker Evans V8 powered Chev. Toyota drew first blood by winning 3 of the 4 production vehicle classes, with Class D entries dominating the top 10 places.
It was my lucky day, and we had a quite clean run today. No problems on the car. We had a couple of wrong slots, and that was that. But we were leading before halfway through the race, and we kept our lead all the way, and everything just went well for us today.
Atan Makhaganeni and Paul Andre scored a debut win in the special vehicle category after a race-long battle with John Weir Smith and Tony George in the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Jimco, who had to settle for second. Terence Marsh and Trevor Ayer in the Nashua Mobile Jimco finished third in Class A. Gavin Gray and Brian Scott finished fourth in the category and picked up the Class B win in the process, with fellow Natalian Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane finishing second in Class B in the Truck Time JRE. A storming drive from Greg Dowse and Trevor Ormeron saw the Nashua Mobile Racing pair finish third overall and first in Class S, with Mohammed Noor from Botswana second in the new class for vehicles with trailing arm front suspensions. A fine debut win for Makhaganeni and Andre, a great drive from last to second for Weir Smith, and a leaderboard dominated by Class B and Class S entries.
And I'm very pleased with myself, my crew, my mechanic, everybody else who's here with us, my navigator here, and my son who came for the first race with us. I think it's a blessing that he came.
The next stop was KwaZulu-Natal for the Nissan Sugarbelt 400. Toyota dominated the top places in the production vehicle championship after 3 class wins on the Barberspun 500, and the rest would have to play catch-up. And catch-up they certainly did. Reigning champions Khalil de Villiers and Francois Jordan made up for their retirement on the Barberspun 500 by romping to victory in the Nissan Hardbody. Teammates Hannes Hobbe and Richard Leek made it to Nissan 1-2 when they finished second, just over 4 minutes behind the leaders. Haasbroek and Bosch finished third overall and first in Class D, and added a rich haul of points to their tally. Duncan Force and Mike Griffith finished second in Class D in the Nissan Hardbody, and were followed home by Mark Corbett and John Moore in the Isuzu. Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham made up for their non-finish in Barberspun by winning Class E in the Ford Racing Ranger, while Hugo Nyaap de Bruin in the Toyota Hilux finished second. Nissan dominated their own event and walked off with 2 class wins. Ford picked up the spoils in Class E, and the Barker and Van Vieren Land Rovers rounded out the top 10.
Conditions was good. There was a bit of dust with us catching the back markers, but overall it was actually a brilliant day. It was a very nice day, so it was great for Bankford Off-Road Racing.
Interesting to see Class B and Class S vehicles occupying 7 of the top 10 places in the championship after the Barberspun 500. Weir Smith and George made up for their disappointment on the Barberspun 500 by trouncing the opposition in the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco. Harvey and Stone were second in the Lexus powered Jimco. Reigning Class B champion Hill, Mr. Consistency Nell, won Class B in the Luck Africa Truggy, and was followed home by local driver Gerald Mundell in the Raceco. They were the only 2 Class B finishers. Dowse and Ormerod finished third overall. And again won Class S in the Nashua Mobile Raceco with local crew Billy Bond and Anton Lombard second in the Prolong Raceco. The Class A vehicles had finally come into their own and occupied 6 in the top 10 places at the end of a very tough event.
I think it was a 4x4 race, most definitely. The sugarcane fields were very, very slippery. But it was really great out there. We got one puncture and we lost our jack, so it was a matter of driving onto rocks to try and get the wheels off the ground to change the wheels. Besides that, it was faultless. It was just a wonderful race. Very, very well.
The next stop was in Botswana for the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. And after 2 events, Haasbroek and Bosch found themselves in a comfortable championship lead. Interestingly, the Class T Brigade lagged far behind. This time it was the turn of veteran Skrobler and Neek to win in the Nissan hardbody, after teammates De Villiers and Jordan blew the motor on their Nissan. Woolridge and Scholthammer had a steady run in the Ford Racing Ranger, but had to settle for second. Force and Griffith came from 81st to 4th overall and won Class T in the Nissan hardbody, while PlayStation Pajero crew Henry and Maurice Zermatten edged our championship leaders Haasbroek and Bosch to finish second in Class D. Cane farmers Schroeder and Peckham were in fine form and won Class E for the second time in a row in the diesel-powered Ford Racing Ranger. Brain and his father Jaap again had to settle for second place in Class E, while Hannesstein and 30 Seekers finished third in a Hilux double cab. Nissan, Ford and Toyota shared the spoils in Class T, with the Class D win going to Nissan and the Class E victory to Ford.
Car was fantastic, crew was fantastic, navigating was fantastic. I don't know about the driver, but we have first, and I'm happy.
Weir, Smith and George and Dawson Ormeron shared the Special Vehicle Championship lead after 2 events, with the ever-consistent Gil Nel not far behind in 3rd place. Dawson Ormeron stormed to victory in the Nashua Mobile Raceco and picked up the Class S win too. They were followed home by past Toyota 1000 winner John Lambert and Stephen Parker in the Digidor. Greg Harvey and Boris Stone were the first of the Class A vehicles across the line, with father and son Bodo and Gary Bertholdt in the M&E Glass Black second in Class A and 4th overall. Class B was won by Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane in the Truck Time JRE, who edged out Gil Nel in the Luck Africa Truggy. It looked as if Nel had bet his match in Taylor and de Chalane would have to pull out all the stops to retain his title. Surprise performances from 2 of the older Class S entries. A well-earned 3rd in Class A for John Moore and Fred Werner in the ex-Sepec Chenoweth.
It's a long race. All thanks go to Nashua Mobile team. We had an unbelievable team. With such a long event like this, you need to have all the support you can get, and we had that today. Fantastic.
Round 4 was the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel 500 in the Mafeking area. Haasbroek and Bosch had a tenuous lead over Force and Griffith in the Production Vehicle Championship, and the De Brains had slowly edged their way into the top 3. There was no stopping the Nissan onslaught. This time out, De Villiers and Jordan won in the Nissan hardbody, and Woolridge and Scholthammer again had to settle for the runner-up spot in the Ford Racing Ranger. Duncan Force and Mike Griffith again won Class D in the Nissan hardbody and were followed home by Mark Corbett and John Moore in the Century Property Development's Isuzu, and Hein Hrobbe and Gerard Prinsloo in another Nissan hardbody. Schroeder and Peckham again won Class E in the Ford Racing Ranger, but were chased hard throughout the event by Hugo and Jaap de Brain, who again had to settle for second. The Class F win went to Paolo Piazza Musso and Scott Abraham in the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jeep. A podium finish for Force and Griffith and a fine 4th overall for Schroeder and Peckham. Class D and E entries dominated the top 10 positions.
The second loop we really went without any hassles, and we're just glad to win again.
Dawson Ormerod had moved into a seemingly unassailable lead after their Toyota 1000 victory, with Gil Nel still very much in the hunt in the Class B leading Luck Africa Truggy, Brothers Gerhard and Lawrence Duplessis acquired the Barberspun 500 winning Jimco from Makhakaneni and chalked up their first overall win in the special vehicle category, ahead of Makhakaneni and Alex Ali in the Sam Racing Jimco. Taylor Deschalaine cruised to another Class B win in the Truck Time JRE and were followed home by Warren Clast and Kim Dixon in the Nasho Mobile Ratflow, with Gerald Mundell third. Fricky Buerta took advantage of Darcy's retirement to win Class S in the Santon Off-Road Accessories Wingfoot. Richard Carolyn and Jeff Minich finished second in Class S in the O'Hagan's Kopanong Hotel Super Team Race Co. Class A vehicles occupied the top 5 places, with Taylor Deschalaine the only Class B entry in the top 10.
Nou, ik heb 12 vanochtend en een pap wiel gekry en vir die tweede helfte nou het mag Atangas voor ons, so hy het 'n rongslot gemaak en toe kon ons by.
The Bankford Off-Road Championship had reached the midway point with a new event, the Toyota Dealer 400 at Sun City.